10, 9, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
All right, folks, how are you? It's always good to be with you. This is Michael Voss, the Dragon of the Southern Tier, here with you on No Soundbites Allowed. And it seems we're getting a little bit of reverb here. All right, so folks, we wanted to talk about a lot of things. It's been an exciting week, and we're always very happy to be here with you. Hang on one second, just getting a little too much feedback here. So the reason why we enjoy this show, I enjoy my audience. You guys are great. You really are. And I do appreciate you every time that I get on and I have an opportunity to speak with you all. It's always wonderful, and I enjoy doing this. And we've got a lot to talk about here because we want to get into what's going on. We're about 30 days away from the June 26th and June 27th Democratic debates for the 2020 presidential nomination. There are approximately 16, 17 candidates that are confirmed. There's looking to be 20 people all in total that will be on the stage. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about obviously the comments from Robert Mueller yesterday when he came out and talked about the exoneration of the president and its consequences, which are very important and very different than what's being reported out there, I think, because there's a chain of events. This is a domino that started before and is continuing to happen now, and it's troubling where these set of dominoes lead to. Regardless of what you think of President Trump, regardless of anything else, there's a chain that's going on here, and we're seeing it in a lot of aspects of our government. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, if there's some, with more time, we're also going to be talking about what's going on with the latest development with We Build the Wall. If you recall, we spoke with Jennifer Lawrence of We Build the Wall a month ago in April, and we're going to be following up that information and talking a little bit about what the latest development is in New Mexico on that private wall that's being built. There's been a lot of developments. We were talking about it on Tuesday. There has been a change in the situation, and I don't think really any of the news media is covering this, but we will because we think it's important. And if there's some time, I do want to go into something that was missed by a lot of people from Time Magazine, talking about millennials and how they're so offended and what should happen about that. And that came from Time Magazine, of all things. So it's a lot of stuff that we want to go over in the show. But I do want to start off, first of all and foremost, I want to say hello to my friends out there. That's at the Belmar Pub in Binghamton and also the Park Diner. Great locations. They are friends of ours. This is not a paid advertisement, but we do recommend them. We go to all these locations and we love them. And they do a great job, good food, good service, good people. We recommend it. If you're in the Binghamton area, please drop on by both of them. Mention that Mike Voss brought you to their attention. And I think you'll enjoy it. And please let me know how you enjoy your experience there. So with that said, let's get into the first things first, okay? And we're going to talk about what's going on with the Democratic debate. We've been following this for quite some time now. Back in October of 2018, we had written an article over at the MVASS.com, that website, which is the Voss Political Commentary site, and where we have over a decade of information, 2 million words in articles we've written there. And we were talking about what we believe will be the prediction, who will be the Democratic choice, the nominee to go up against President Donald Trump in 2020. And at that time, we had said it would be going with the gender and identity politics of the Democratic Socialist Party. We were looking at an all-woman lineup. And we had said that it would be either Elizabeth Warren or it would be Kirsten Gillibrand or it would be Kamala Harris, each of them being senators currently in office. And a lot of people have been wondering about that. There's been a lot of back and forth. We've seen a lot of other names come into the race. We've been following how they've all been doing. And the fact is that the leader of the Democratic Party right now is either Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders. They are the top two people in the Democratic Party at this time. So depending on who you're asking, that's who it's going to be. And we apologize if any of this is dropping off. There seems to be an issue with the internet, and we're trying to adjust our technology as best we can for that. It's beyond us, though, on the internet connection. So we apologize if anything drops out. But what we're seeing is that the latest news, in a month, all of the candidates are going to be showing up on a stage, and they're going to be speaking. And we see that, it's a mess. It is considered a big mess. In fact, if you're looking at the latest article, which came out by Politico today, which had its title changed. It initially had a title of the first 2020 Democratic debate puts Democrats on edge, and they've now changed the title to First Debate Sparks Democratic Scramble. And it's probably because the first title of this article was a bit negative, and somewhere between 9 a.m. and the show starting here at 1 p.m., they changed that title. Very interesting that Politico is being motivated that way. But in the article, two things that come up that I think are of interest is that one of the things they're highlighting, and I'm quoting from the article, we are preparing a cross-section. There are a lot of candidates who are similar, who have similar positions on the big issues. We know where a lot of our peers are coming from. And this is a quote from an advisor for the California representative, Eric Swalwell, who's running for the 2020 election that no one's talking about. And for the lesser-known candidates such as Swalwell, the article continues, the debate presents an opportunity to gain much-needed step in the primary. So that's what Politico is announcing. And what Politico is mentioning here is that this entire thing is a mess. It is a mess. You have 20 candidates, actually 23 candidates, 33 if you include those who are not announced at this time, who are running all over the place. And I have to say, it's not that they're just candidates who have similar positions. They have the same exact position. There is no difference. Eric Swalwell is against guns. So is Cory Booker. So is Kamala Harris. So is Joe Biden. They're against the Second Amendment. They want to take away your right to have a firearm. There is no difference in the candidates on this. In fact, you can look at all of the issues. Cory Booker's appealing to the gender identity politics in the same way that Kirsten Gillibrand is appealing to the same group. And so we're not seeing any difference. You can pick any issue you want. They all come together. And that's why at the end of the article, we see that the quote that they're using, which is coming from Mr. Reyes, his name was up earlier, they end with the quote, "You've got a little bit of a whack-a-mole situation, and that's going to play out on the stage." Well, yeah, because we're looking at a situation where you have 6, maybe 7 candidates. Well, rather, the candidates are going to look at 6 to 7 minutes. That's the difference. Democrats are being asked in the first debate to start picking and choosing their candidates based on 6 or 7 minutes of a debate, which means 1 or 2 questions. Depending on how each of the candidates answers 1 to 2 questions on average, Democrats, rank and file, are supposed to figure out who they like. And that's going to be really sad because you're not going to see really any true difference being made. But what can we say about this? What does it really mean to us? Well, if we're looking at the polling that's out there, it says a lot. We know what's going to happen. Biden and Sanders are going to get the majority of the attention. And that's because Biden leads nationally, according to, this is from Real Clear Politics, a poll the average poll of every poll in the nation, we see that Biden's leading with 34.8%. Sanders is in second with 16.4%. That's not going to change. They're going to continue to be 1 and 2. Now, what may change is for everyone else. People like Williamson, Ryan, Gabbard, Andrew Yang, Julius Castro, Senator Klobuchar. You're going to see people like them, even Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, most likely. They're going to all drop out. They're going to disappear relatively quickly. I mean, these are all people who have 1% or less. 1% or less. I mean, to look at Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who was one of our picks of the three, one of the individuals we thought might make it to the 2020 race, to the nomination, she's at 0.4%. This is after Cory Booker has gone out and made an effort to keep her in the race and get her into the debate because she couldn't do it. She had no support, so she wasn't able to do it. And so he went out and he purposefully pushed her name, which has had mixed reviews. She actually dropped from 0.8% to 0.4% in national attention. She's dead in the water. The effort from Booker, while in some individual polling recently has put him at 3%, he actually went down from 2.4% nationally on the average to 2.2. He's losing ground for trying to support Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. So we're seeing a big change. And if you're wondering about de Blasio, he's at 0.3%. He's not a factor. So all the big names that we've heard about, really, there's only about 5 people who really matter in this. They're going to get all the real attention. And everyone else is going to be thrown out. And maybe 1 or 2 of them will move up a bit, but nowhere in any real significance. I don't expect Buttigieg to maintain his position. Robert O'Rourke, the fake Hispanic, is going to be bounced out of this pretty quick. So is Booker. We're going to see most of these guys gone. The real race is essentially between Biden, Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Kamala Harris. There's your big race. And I believe that Warren and Harris are going to wind up being the big winners on that. You may disagree, but I see that coming. And if we're going by the betting pools that are out there on this, well, the betting pools have a very interesting point of view on it as well. According to the betting pools, Joe Biden is the big winner. He's and this is according to Predict It, who will win the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination. And it's not an official poll, but it's the way people are betting on this. And this is where the odds are coming in. So Biden has a 2-to-1 lead essentially on Bernie Sanders, who's in second place. Buttigieg at the moment is at 16 cents. He's moved along a lot. If you've been following the show, we've been checking this on a regular basis. He's moved up about 5, 6, 7 places. So he's been doing really well. But quite honestly, he's right there with Elizabeth Warren, who consistently since October has been maintaining roughly a 3rd place position. She's very strong in this race. And Kamala Harris, who's been roughly running about 4th or 5th place, remains in the top 5 in terms of the betting pools, which we see reflected in the national polling. Andrew Yang, a gentleman who has no real claim to fame other than being the Asian in the race, and that's kind of dubious that his big claim to fame is he's the Asian in the race. That's it. He's up there with Beto O'Rourke. His big claim to fame is he lost to the guy who lost to President Trump by 3%. That's it. Beto O'Rourke, a fake Hispanic, someone who's trying to pretend to be Hispanic even though he's not. He's Irish. His name is Robert, is out there and he's got no claim, and he's right there with Andrew Yang, a guy who wants to just give people free money, although he has a lot of conditions on that, and he doesn't want to discuss that with the public, but that's the fact. You got Cory Booker, who has no claim to fame other than he assaulted a woman in his youth, which he's spoken about publicly, and that he wants to put a woman as vice president. Hillary Clinton still remains very popular, amazingly. I don't know what's going on with that for Democrats. I mean, Hillary Clinton, who has no hope whatsoever, is still higher than Kirsten Gillibrand or Amy Klobuchar. It's really, really sad. What do we expect that we're going to see at the end of the day with all of this? You're going to see a mess. I feel bad for the rank and file Democrats. I really feel bad for the rank and file Democrats because there's no way to really understand what's going on with these candidates in 6 to 7 minutes. And no one should have to only have 6 to 7 minutes, basically 1 to 2 questions to decide whether they think this is a person who should be president or not. It's not fair to the candidates. It's not fair to the public. It really isn't. And I think we deserve to know more about these candidates so that we can make a true evaluation about who is even worthy of having the chance to run. I mean, it's ridiculous. And no wonder they call it a whack-a-mole, according to Politico. It is the most ridiculous example of failure that I've seen in quite some time. I wasn't very happy with the Republican race in 2016 for having a similar situation. There's no way to properly evaluate some of the best choices that are out there. Not when you have virtually no time being given to the candidates to be able to make an answer. It's basically, I didn't screw up in giving an answer. I didn't pause. I didn't stumble in my words, which is a problem for Biden and for Sanders both. But if they don't stumble, they don't have a Governor Perry kind of moment, then they get to move on to the next level, even though they may be a horrible choice. That's not good. And that's what Democrats are looking at. So the choice is going to be made on how do you look on stage and do you stumble when you answer a question? And you may only have one question. That's ridiculous. That doesn't mean that they're the best candidate. It's not the way to evaluate someone, at least not in my opinion. But you may disagree. So I find that quite interesting, and I think it's going to be a complete mess. And I think it is a whack-a-mole situation. And I think that Democrats will be disappointed no matter what happens. And I think the polling's showing us exactly where it's going. We got a 4-way race. Biden, Sanders, Warren, Harris. There it is. And I think because of the gender identity politics that are promoted by the Democratic Party, the fact that we've seen everybody apologize for being white, rich, white, old men in terms of the leaders, and everyone else apologizing that they're either white or they're male or they're straight, I think that says a lot about where we're going to see this wind up. That it's going to be women. It's going to be an all-woman ticket against the evil, horrible, oppressive Republicans, which means Donald Trump, and that's going to be the race. And it's sad. If that's what 2020 is being decided on, that's very sad. But let's go on to the next thing, which I want.